Marlene from Evans, Georgia, listening on Sirius Satellite Radio. Hello, Marlene. How are you?
Hello, I am blessed of the Lord and highly favored anyhow.
Blessed of
Thank
the
you for
Lord
taking
and
my
highly
call.
favored. Now, that's an attitude to wake up to.
Yeah.
Blessed of the Lord and highly favored. Now, how can we help you?
I'd like to, actually I am I'll be 51 in December.
Okay.
Single grandmother slash mother. I'm raising 3 of my biological grandchildren. And
How old
I'd
are
like
they?
To,
How old are they?
I have a 14-year-old queen and who just made the JV and varsity basketball team.
Yay.
And I have an 11-year-old king and another 9-year-old queen.
Okay. All right. Now, why do you refer to them? Why do you refer to them as royalty?
Actually, because to be honest with you, I try to speak things into existence.
Okay.
Actually, because it's really been a challenge for me, but I give God the glory, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And it's a challenge to have started all over again because my children, the only 2 that I birthed was 30 and 30. It's 30 and 33.
Okay. Well, you are quite a woman to take on. Why did you end up raising these kids?
Actually, it was either me or foster care. And
what happened with your daughter?
My only daughter, my only queen that I have. She is she lives here, and she lives actually near me in Augusta. But she drinks quite a little bit. What she was diagnosed as being an alcoholic about a year ago.
Yeah.
And they took the kids. I've had them for almost 8 years, and they took the kids because she was unstable at a place to stay. Her and her husband then was unstable about having a place to stay, and so the state took them, and they said I had them for 18 years. So that was the way it was. So
yeah. Have you ever thought about trying to get her some help?
I have. I've prayed and believe God. I still believe God that she is. I still try to. I do go see her probably about once a month, sometimes twice a month, and I try to. I've talked to her about New Life. I've heard the show a lot. I've talked to her about going to programs and.
Good.
And I don't think she. That was my problem. I really want to build a better relationship with her. I don't know.
That's pretty tough when she's drinking.
I must not be doing something right. That was my. That's.
All right. Well, we'll help you a little bit with that. But what is your question for us?
I was, that is my question. I'd like to, for my 33-year-old, I'd love to build, like I said, a relationship because I really want to. I don't want to do my second set of children, even though I'm doing pretty good at it, I think. But these children are now having, difficulties, even though we get counseling and all that.
Now, what about?
I want to build my relationship with her.
Is she married? Is she married?
She's not married. Well, she's married, but she's not with that person.
Okay. And is the dad involved in their lives at all?
No. They really don't know their real father.
No, it's just sad.
I do have my ex-husband and I actually adopted the children together, so he helped me out some with them.
Okay. All right, well, we'll try to give you some help here right after this break. We're talking with Marlene, and she is a very dedicated grandmother who's raising her grandkids as her own, has an alcoholic daughter. When you hear this story, what do you want to do? What do you say to her?
Marlene, I think you are asking some really good questions. You are willing to admit that, okay, your kids maybe didn't turn out as you had hoped. Now you have a second group of kids that you're raising and looking at, okay, what did I do wrong? Now, it doesn't mean that you are completely responsible for all of your adult daughter's choices.
That's right.
Because there are other influences, and no matter what happens to us, once we become adults, we kind of have to step up to the plate and deal with our lives. But I still think you are asking some good questions. And so, Marlene, when you ask yourself that question, is there anything that jumps out at you as something glaring that you may have done to contribute?
Well, I've always, I was in the Army for years, and I did the best that I could do as far as them having mentors. I really thought that it was imperative because I never lived around a whole lot of my family, although my mother had 17 children. I've been the one that have not lived close anybody. So I wanted to put mentors in place, and I don't really feel that is that I did that very bad. I tried to get mentors, but it didn't work. So, but
Okay,
I think
mentors
that,
in replace of you?
no, I don't think replace of me.
Okay, in
during the
addition
time,
to.
ma'am.
Yes?
I didn't understand you.
Oh, in addition to yourself?
Right.
Is that what
yes,
you're
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Is
yes,
that what
ma'am.
you're saying?
Right. Yes, ma'am. In addition to me.
Okay. Well, let's deal with what we're dealing with right here, and that is your relationship with your daughter and her alcoholism.
Yes, sir.
So were you deployed, Marlene, while you were in the Army away from your children?
I was, and that's the only time I've ever been away from them.
And how old was your daughter when you were deployed away from her?
She was about 13.
Okay. So I think, Jill, you have a great point here. Maybe that's your starting point, where you
Right.
go and you say, you know, I left you at a very important age in your life.
Yep.
And I couldn't help that, but nonetheless,
But
it could
still.
have harmed you, it could have hurt you, it could have scared you. And what was it life like without me for that time at 13? And what did you feel like?
Right, and that would do two things. One, it's giving you information, Marlene, in answer to your first question about what can I do with the second group of kids, but also you're trying to bridge that gap with your daughter, and you're validating her experience, even if you see it differently. You know, asking her about her experience and how she felt, and you weren't able to perhaps be with her then, but you can now, as the two of you remember that time.
Now, what does your daughter do? Does she work?
She doesn't work. No,
Are you
no,
giving her money?
No, absolutely not. I used to, but
How
I
does
don't,
she
absolutely not.
live? How does she live?
She is staying in a hotel room with a man that takes care of the whatever, I guess.
Wow. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And is he drinking with her? I mean, is that
I don't think he drank most of the time. I think he just maybe he don't know how to not supply her with it.
Yeah. Have you ever talked with him about why don't we help her sober up?
I have not. I talked to him one time about that, and I, very briefly, very briefly.
Yeah.
And so I never really worked on doing that much.
Okay. Well, your daughter's in a very horrible situation where she's detached from you. She's into the alcohol, and she's probably staying with a man that has her right where he wants her and dependent on him.
Yes, sir.
So I would say the best you can do is to try to go and see her on a consistent basis. You say you go sometimes twice a month?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
I would just go and I would let her know I love you, I love you, I love you, and I would I would be consistent with that message, and I would be consistent with this message. You have a whole other life ahead of you when you decide to sober up. That's what I would say to her.
Okay.
You have a whole other life that's going to be rich and wonderful once you decide that you've had enough of the alcohol. And haven't you had your share yet? I think you've had your share. And then I would, with those kids, I would sure be doing what you tried to do with your other kids. I would be getting Big Brother involved. I would be looking online at fathers.com and some other organizations that might help you give them a father image of someone to play with, someone to lead them, mentor them. I would continue on that path that you did before while I'm trying to reestablish the relationship with daughter.
But I would also be asking the grandkids some of those same questions about their experience, because they've been abandoned now by their mother. Maybe, you've been able to fill in and be a great mom. They're still going to have feelings. It doesn't erase those feelings. And so for you to be someone where they could be honest and open about how that feels. And you could just be, not only the mom, but the grandma that comforts them.
Yep.
Yeah. Right, and actually, I'm not doing. I'm doing the best that I can, but the children, like I said, they don't. My 14-year-old, I'm learning how, because I didn't know how to talk to
Okay.
my children before. I'm learning through books and the Lord and just listening to people and the mentoring people, because I do have them in programs, and all of them are in programs that will help them.
Okay.
But
Marlene,
but I'm not doing it. I'm trying to do the best that I can, but
Yeah.
I don't know how to. I'm still learning how to talk to the 14-year-old as well.
okay.
'Cause,
So Marlene, it's okay to stumble through. Better to try stumble through than have to have it perfect. The effort is appreciated.
And
by
you know,
kids.
one of the things I love about Marlene is her very positive attitude that I tried, my king, my queen, etc. And she says, I try to speak things into existence. Now, while I love her positive attitude, and I'd love to hang out with her for a day or two just to hear some of that, but one of the things you can do with being so positive is you can deny reality.
Yeah.
You practically not face the hard things. You can ignore the present, and you don't want to lean into the hard aspects of the kid's bad feelings.
Yeah.
And so you can just say,
or the kids feel like it's not safe to bring it up because grandma's going to turn it into something
because
positive.
I'm always going to turn it into this positive statement as though I'm going to speak things into existence. So far, the only one that I know that can speak things into existence is God himself.
Yeah.
We have to practically sow the seeds of righteousness, and we reap what we sow. So I love her attitude. I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to not do with my grandkids what, and just that's important to stay in that atmosphere of reality.
Remember that shell story? Where
Yes.
if you want a shell, good to be walking along the beach 5 a.m. in the morning. Okay. So in this case, if you want a king or you want a queen, it's one thing to say or call them king. It's another thing to teach them the rules of royalty and the court and how to carry yourself and how to be king-like or queen-like. And I think that's the important. That's more important than saying the word out loud. It's training.